Hello and welcome to the July 5th, 2026 episode of Nick's News. I'm your host Nick, brought to you by Some Budget Studios. That's right, we're finally paying for this project of ours. We're live every Sunday and I thank you all so much for tuning in or catching the replay on the Nick's News YouTube channel. This is a program dedicated to bringing good news to counter all the bad news that we are bombarded with on a daily basis, with the hope of bringing a little bit of joy back to the world. Several of our articles are pulled from sites like Industry Tap, Live Science, Positive.news, and GoodGoodGood.co, but we appreciate everything sent in by you, the Nick's Newsies. Good evening, everybody. So happy to be back on the air. It has been a crazy week. I hope everybody has had an all right week so far. So I know there's been a lot of wild weather events and all sorts of insanity around the country. So hopefully everybody is doing well. Speaking of those storms, let's get into our news brew. It's been a pretty stormy summer so far, with all sorts of wild weather winding up across the world. So let's get in on this action with Dogfish Head's Tropical Squall, a 9% ABV Imperial Golden Ale. It's got pineapple and mango thrown all about in this storm of golden goodness. So Becky went to their first concert and it was Weird Al. Congratulations, Becky. All right, we don't need a Balisong bottle opener since it's a can, and we are going to enjoy this in my Wolverine pint glass. Why the Wolverine pint glass? Well, my first favorite Canadian is Producer Donna, and I don't have a Producer Donna pint glass, so I'll go with my second favorite Canadian, Wolverine, in honor of Canada Day, which was on July 1st. Let's blow the gain on the audio. Thank you very much, Becky, for liking and sharing. Greatly appreciated. Get into the oh my gosh, I can smell that already. That smells like a tropical cyclone just blew into my nostrils. Get into the theatrics of a 5-minute pour. Straight pour, get all that carbonated goodness going so that it's not going into me. Hey, Nico. So it is a golden ale, so we're going to expect some yellow color, just like Wolverine's outfit. Looking good so far. We'll let that settle out a little bit. And we'll get into our shoutouts. Tesla Tree Service is an environmentally friendly tree service in South Jersey with years of experience, not just with trees, but getting stuck animals out of them. Animal rescues are always free. If you haven't checked out their Facebook page, please do so and show Steve and the crew some love with likes and shares of their content. We've included their link down below, as well as links to the International Directory of Cat Rescuers. You can check those out in the description of our video. So to everybody involved with Tesla Tree Service, and especially Steve, climbing trees to rescue all sorts of animals. Cheers. Wow. I might as well be vacationing in the tropics drinking this. Holy crap. That is a very, very tropical drink. I'm going to go in for another one. Oh my. Wow. I really like this. Becky says, ooh, not Deadpool. I like the character Deadpool. I think he's hilarious in every iteration. I love his comic line. But the more iconic Canadian superhero that I'm aware of is Wolverine. And I think I read Wolverine and the X-Men comics before I read Deadpool. So I'm going to go with... I also don't have a Deadpool pint glass, so maybe I would have if I had one, but I don't. So whatever. Second shout out, congratulations to Phillips Park Zoo's latest baby, an elk, receiving his name. A competition just wrapped up, and despite my desire for him to be named Chet, because he totally looks like a Chet, the name that had the highest votes was Benji. So congratulations, Benji. Hopefully you will grow into that name. To Benji. Cheers. Hey, Dirty Rogue. News quote. So normally we pick a quote from some historical figure or a person of interest, um, a former president, all sorts of things. And usually it's supposed to fit the moment, kind of what's going on and the atmosphere of, where we want to be with an episode. But because of everything going on right now with the celebration of Canada Day on the 1st and the 250th anniversary of the United States on the 4th, I wanted to do something a little bit different, which is I wanted to do a quote myself. I've been thinking of one for a bit. This whole weekend actually has kind of been going through my mind. Ooh, Becky said, "Did I freeze? Am I still frozen?" Uh oh. Uh oh. Am I still frozen? Somebody confirm whether or not I'm still frozen. Uh oh. Thanks for saying something. I thought it was just me. That's from producer Donna. Buffering, I guess. No, you are good now. Okay, everybody is confirming we are back. We are fine. All right, neat. Uh, okay. All right, we're good. All right. So, I have been rolling around a quote for the moment, and I wanted to present it on this one because this is a very strange occasion for a lot of us, and a lot of stuff may not feel good to a lot of folks. We all might feel a bit out of place. This may seem strange for the occasion, so I kind of wanted to ground things, and I thought of this. Um, I'm glad you're here. And I don't mean just watching this live stream or checking out the recording. I'm glad that you are here on this earth, here and now. I think this world is a better place because you are here. Celebrate you and the people you wish to celebrate for and with. I'm celebrating for and with you too. So that is from me, Nicholas Fiore, born 1986, continuous improvement specialist, engineer, and host of Nick's News. We may not be in a mood to celebrate some things going on right now. So take that time instead to celebrate you and the fact that you're here and still with us on this earth. I think that's a really important thing that a lot of us lose sight of and don't take advantage of. We celebrate one another a lot, and we're happy for one another. But sometimes we lose sight of that, and we lose sight of being happy for ourselves and congratulating ourselves on everything we've done. So I'm glad you're here, and I don't mean just watching the live stream or checking out the recording. I'm glad you are here on this earth, here and now. I think the world is a better place because you are here. Celebrate you and the people you wish to celebrate for and with. I'm celebrating for and with you too. From me to you. Cheers. Bug update. All the bugs are really happy, which makes for a very happy bug room. Elmira has temporarily ceased terraforming their home, but it still looks like a bomb went off, so it's absolutely terrible. Ripley has been a very content scuttlebug. Little John is hunkered down in his hide, and I think he started to make a burrow. I really hope that he's not going to become a shut-in like Sue is, who continues to menace the outside world with just his claws being up. So, apart from all that, all is well in the bug room. In fact, while I'm beginning this recording, Elmira came up and woke up, so I was like super happy to see them. So, yeah, all is well. Becky says, I will have this beer gone before Wholesome Notes. We'll see. We've only got 6 articles tonight, so I'll bet I'll have this beer still with me by the end of the show. Speaking of which, let's get into our good news. So our broadcast is broken up into 4 major categories, and those categories are science and technology, health and medicine, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals, and wholesome notes, the really nice ones that we like to end on. Before we get into all that, though, I would really like to ask if you could like the video. Interaction is how we continue to spread Nick's news. It's how we get YouTube to keep pushing our content, which it actually has started to, which is very cool. And you guys are great with interacting with us. If you could take just a moment and hit the like button on this video, I would be eternally grateful, and it would continue to show that Nick's News has interaction and is getting the push, or will start to get more of the push that we need to keep spreading our good news. So thank you all again. And now we will get into Category 1, Science and Technology. We've got one article in here, and it's NASA Gotta Catch 'Em All. I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to check this out. NASA launches rescue mission to save Swift Space Telescope from burning up in Earth's atmosphere. This was published to space.com, and it was published on July 2nd of 2026 by Josh Dinner. An air-launched Northrop Grumman Pegasus XL rocket has flown for the very last time, sending a private spacecraft on a rescue mission to save one of NASA's most iconic space telescopes from falling back to Earth. And no, it's not the Hubble, it's the Swift. And if you haven't heard of it, I highly recommend that you look up Swift and everything that the Neil Gehrels Swift Observatory has done. It is insane how much information we have gotten because of this observatory, and now we are going to rescue it. The Swift Boost mission successfully launched the Link satellite, which was built by Arizona-based Catalyst Space Technologies on Friday, July 3rd at 4:36 a.m. EDT, or 08:36 GMT, according to NASA. Link is going to rendezvous with NASA's Neil Gehrels Swift Observatory, and it's going to tow it into a stable orbit, saving it from impending destruction as its trajectory dips further into the atmosphere. The Pegasus XL rocket was released from Northrop Grumman's L-1011 Stargazer jet above the Marshall Islands before it ignited its engine and carried the Link into orbit. The successful launch came after previous attempts were called off due to weather and a software issue affecting the rocket's navigation system. Pegasus is this really cool 3-stage solid rocket-propelled launch vehicle that measures 55 feet in length, or 16.9 meters if you didn't land anybody on the moon, and it's capable of delivering up to 1,000 pounds, or 454 kilograms, into low Earth orbit. Following its separation from the Stargazer, the rocket's stages are ignited in sequence to reach its intended altitude in about 10 minutes. Pegasus debuted back in 1990 and has since flown 45 missions. Its aerial deployment and flexibility to take off from different airfields allows the rocket to enter hard-to-reach orbital inclinations that are inaccessible for many major spaceports. That's one of the reasons Pegasus is launching Link, a robotic servicing satellite that can reach Swift's low 20.6 degree inclination relative to Earth's equator. So again, this is a rocket that's launched from a plane. Like, this is wild. Another reason that NASA chose the Pegasus rocket for this mission was time, which is running out for Swift. The $500 million Swift Observatory was launched back in November of 2004 to study gamma-ray bursts and other high-energy events across the universe. Despite its more than 20 years of operation, Swift is still providing scientific data. Its orbit, though, has begun to dip dangerously low, where recent solar activity has increased atmospheric drag at higher LEO altitudes, and it will soon overcome the spacecraft, dragging it to its ultimate demise. Swift, unfortunately, was not designed to be serviced and was not built with the thrusters needed to raise its own orbit. It basically got put into its orbit, and it's been there ever since, slowly but surely falling back down. Now we have Link. After it's released from Pegasus's payload bay and initial systems checkouts, the Catalyst spacecraft will begin its long course to rendezvous with Swift. Before beginning its final approach, Link is going to spend 2 or 3 weeks performing observations of Swift to assess optimal grapple points on the observatory. That's right, it's gonna grab the Swift observatory. Link itself only measures about 4.9 feet long, or 1.5 meters, and it's equipped with 3 robotic arms that will be used to capture Swift, which stretches about 12.7 feet, or 3.9 meters. Once a grab point is chosen and Swift is secured, Link will fire a set of gentle ion thrusters that will slowly raise the pair back up into orbit over the next several months. Link is poised to be the first spacecraft, the first private spacecraft, to attempt to capture an uncrewed US government satellite. NASA selected Catalyst for the task in September of 2025, with less than a year to carry out Link's design, manufacture, and testing. This is an amazing engineering marvel to build something like this in such a short period of time. Despite its urgency and the relative short notice to get Link into orbit, the entire Swift rescue mission and launch only cost NASA $30 million, which, compared to other projects that they have, is kind of a drop in the bucket. While NASA could have allowed Swift to re-enter the atmosphere, the situation presented an opportunity to demonstrate a key capability for the future of space exploration. This daring approach also extends Swift's scientific lifetime and is more affordable than replacing the observatory's unique capabilities. NASA states on the Swift Boost mission page, which there is a link in the article if you want to check that out. The goal is to return Swift to its original altitude of about 373 miles, which will extend the observatory's life expectancy by a number of years, provided its systems continue to operate as designed. That is really awesome. Basically, a third party, the Catalyst company, building an assistance bot, an assistance satellite that's going to go up and it's going to grab onto Swift and it's going to carry it back up into a stable orbit, is nothing short of awesome. So, to everybody involved with rescuing the Swift Observatory from a slow but swift demise, cheers. Oops. Let's turn that around so we've got the Wolverine on the front. All right, that's going to get us out of science and technology. We're going to move on to category 2, health and medicine. We've got one article in here, and this is a cancer, fuck cancer article. So I'll copy and paste it in the chat if y'all want to check this out. And again, links for all of our videos are available in the description. Feel free to peruse them at your leisure. They are amazing. I'm just reading them. Really give these sites some traffic. It's really cool that they are putting out this good news, and it sometimes goes up under the radar. Groundbreaking genomic test could spare millions of breast cancer patients chemotherapy. This was published to The Guardian on May 29th of 2026 by Andrew Gregory. Millions of women with breast cancer could be spared chemotherapy with a groundbreaking genomic test, according to the results of a trial that could transform healthcare guidelines worldwide. Treatment for breast cancer, the world's most prevalent form of the disease, involves surgery to remove tumors. Chemotherapy is then usually recommended when doctors believe there is a risk the disease will return. But chemotherapy's toxic side effects, which can include hair loss, rashes, nausea, insomnia, and fatigue, are physically and emotionally grueling for patients. Some women may face life-changing consequences such as infertility, cognitive impairment, or early menopause. For decades, there has been little choice for patients. Now, scientists have developed a genomic test that can spot who needs chemotherapy and who doesn't. The breakthrough enables doctors to determine which patients can safely skip it, paving the way for a new era of personalized medicine. Results from an international trial of the test suggest millions of women can safely avoid chemotherapy, sparing them the side effects without increasing the risk of the cancer returning. The findings will be presented in the world's largest cancer conference, the American Society of Clinical Oncology's annual meeting in Chicago on Saturday in May. So it has passed, it has been presented. The Optima trial, which was led by the University College London, followed more than 4,000 patients with newly diagnosed breast cancer in the UK, Norway, Sweden, Australia, New Zealand, and Thailand. It found that those with a low score on the genomic test could be treated safely with hormone therapy alone. One woman who took part in the trial told The Guardian that being able to skip chemotherapy felt like Christmas. 9 years after being diagnosed, taking the test and skipping chemotherapy, she is healthy and enjoying a full and active life. Professor Rob Stein, the trial's chief investigator and a professor of breast oncology at UCL, said, "Optima addresses a long-standing challenge in breast cancer care, identifying who truly benefits from chemotherapy and who does not. Our findings show that many patients can safely avoid chemotherapy without compromising their outcomes." These results mark an important and significant step toward more personalized treatment. The trial has successfully used tumor biology to guide decisions rather than relying solely on traditional clinical features. For patients, this means many may be spared the physical and emotional burden of chemotherapy and its potential long-term side effects. For health systems, it represents a more efficient and evidence-based use of resources. The Prosigna test made by the global diagnostics company Veracyte analyzes the activity of 50 genes in tumor tissue. It determines the molecular subtype and provides a score revealing the risk of breast cancer returning in the next decade, helping doctors decide if chemotherapy is worthwhile or not. The randomized trial, including 4,429 patients aged 40 or above with hormone-positive breast cancer. It's the most common form of breast cancer, accounting for up to 80% of breast cancer cases globally. Participants were assigned to one of two treatment groups. In the standard treatment group, patients received chemotherapy followed by hormone therapy, and in the second group, patients had their tumors analyzed with the genomic test. Those with a high score received chemotherapy and hormone therapy. Those with a low score were treated just with hormone therapy. Radiotherapy and other treatments were given as usual to both groups. In the second group, results showed outcomes were extremely similar whether chemotherapy was given or not. 5 years after treatment, 95% of those who had chemotherapy and hormone therapy were alive and free from breast cancer recurrence, while 94% of those who skipped chemotherapy were also alive and recurrence free. The results suggest that those with low test scores for those with low test scores, chemotherapy offered little to or no additional benefit, meaning patients could safely avoid it and its side effects. Some men also took part in the study, which received funding from the National Institute for Health and Care Research, or the NIHR. Veracyte and cancer charities were also involved, but there were too few to draw firm conclusions for the group, so not enough men in this one to see if male breast cancer is affected in the same way, but really an amazing test overall, determining that for so many women, chemotherapy might not be necessary after breast cancer tumor removal. Professor Ian McPherson, a co-chief investigator and professor of breast oncology at the University of Glasgow, said, "Optima provides robust, practice-changing evidence that we can safely reduce the use of chemotherapy for many patients with hormone-sensitive breast cancer." These findings represent a major step forward in delivering more personalized, precise care, ensuring that treatment decisions are driven by what will genuinely improve outcomes for patients, while avoiding unnecessary toxicity. The potential impact for both patients and health services is substantial. That is awesome. To everybody involved in this massive study, determining that breast cancer diagnoses may not require the use of chemotherapy afterwards via a new genomic test. Cheers. If you can't tell, I really hate cancer. All right, we are moving right along. That's going to get us out of health and medicine. We're going to move on to category 3, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals. And we've got 2 articles in this one. First one, the cutest bounce back ever. I'll copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to check this out. This tiny fox species almost disappeared forever. Now, its recovery is among the fastest of any endangered species. This article was published to goodgoodgood.co on May 19th of 2026 by Cameron Baker. I highly recommend that you check out the link either in the description or that I've posted into the chat so you can see this animal, the Santa Catalina Island fox, which is found nowhere on Earth other than Los Angeles' Catalina Island. Or Los Angeles' Catalina Island. In 1999, the species was almost wiped out entirely from the face of the Earth. During that year, a canine distemper virus swept through Catalina and reduced the fox population by more than 90% in a single year. The population crashed from around 1,300 animals to just 100. A Facebook post from Catalina Island Conservancy recently stated, "It could have been the end, but it wasn't." Becky says, "What does this fox say?" This fox says, "Get off my island," according to producer Donna. The virus was likely introduced by a raccoon that arrived by boat, an indicator of how easy it is for mainland diseases to reach the island and drastically impact its endemic species. But this tiny fox, which typically weighs just 4 to 6 pounds, was too important not to save. As the island's largest native land predator, and that's saying something given that it's only 4 to 6 pounds, the Catalina Island fox controls prey and disperses native seeds, keeping the ecosystem healthy. So, conservationists at the Conservancy and the Institute for Wildlife Studies got to work in the early aughts, using tools like captive breeding, vaccinating, and monitoring the wildlife population to steady the species' decline. By 2004, the fox population had tripled. By 2016, the species was downlisted from endangered to threatened, hailed as the fastest mammal recovery in the history of the Endangered Species Act. While the dramatic recovery of the Catalina Island fox is certainly inspiring, the species is still considered threatened due to risks of disease, ear mites, and vehicle strikes, according to the Conservancy. But every year, experts continue their work, monitoring hundreds of native foxes on the island, performing health checks, and ensuring they are vaccinated against canine distemper and rabies. Volunteer pilots also team up with telemetry teams to track the animals from the air and on the ground, getting a clear picture of the species' overall growth. Our community stays vigilant too. It was Avalon residents who first alerted staff to sick foxes in 1999, Catalina Island Conservancy shared on Facebook. It is that love for the species that has made it the ideal ambassador for the island as a whole. An illustrated version of the Catalina Island fox is even the mascot for the area's Wildfire Safety Public Information Campaign. In conservation, we often have a charismatic species to represent the entire ecosystem that we have here, And the island fox is a great one for that. Dr. Lauren Denhart, the Senior Director of Conservation at the Conservancy, said in a video. Denhart added that the fox species is one of 60 plant and animal species that are entirely unique to Catalina Island. Having something tangible that people can understand and relate to and want to save really helps us with our conservation efforts, she concluded. The fox also serves as a reminder of what can be accomplished in conservation, she said, when financial support is prioritized. The fox's recovery is a great marker for the Conservancy on what it can accomplish when we have a dedicated team focused on conservation efforts to really change the course of the island, Denhart said. Conservation is hard. It's a long path, and it takes a lot of dedication. But based on this little fox alone, it's proof that the work is worth doing. The island fox is still here, the Conservancy concluded on Facebook. That's not luck. That's what conservation looks like. They really are cute as could be. These things look amazing. So, to everybody involved with the survival efforts of the Catalina Island fox, cheers. This next one we called Beavers Aren't the Only Engineers. I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to check this out. 500 tortoises turned the Saharan desert into something that looked alive, even from outer space. This was published to Yahoo News on May 30th of 2026 by Lee Cook. How's the beer coming along? We've still got plenty left. A conservation story is giving people a rare dose of hope about the Sahara. 500 tortoises were released into a severely degraded part of the desert, and within 5 years, satellite imagery showed green patches in areas that had been mostly sand. The story centers on African spurred tortoises, a native species also known as Centrochelys sulcata, the Indian Defense Review reported. In 2021, researchers placed 500 of them in a degraded area on the Sahara's southern fringe, where baked, crusted soil had prevented rain from soaking in, leaving seeds with almost no chance to sprout. The tortoises did not plant anything, IDR said. They dug. These large reptiles burrow deep underground to escape brutal daytime heat and cold desert nights. Their digging breaks up the surface crust, creating channels for rainwater to enter the soil instead of running off the surface. The small physical change appears to have set off a chain reaction. The shift helped moisture remain underground, which gave dormant seeds a chance to sprout, and later appeared from space as scattered green growth near the tortoise's activity. In a region where land degradation threatens food security, grazing, and rural livelihoods, healthier soil can make a real difference for nearby communities. The tortoises are what ecologists call ecosystem engineers, species that physically alter their surroundings in ways that help other life. Once burrows loosen the soil, insects and microorganisms move in, plants begin to take hold, and birds and small animals can follow. Conservation and climate resilience often go hand in hand. Protecting native wildlife can help landscapes retain water, reduce erosion, and recover naturally, much like other nature-based solutions in rewilding projects and low-tech land restoration efforts in dry regions. Researchers and conservation groups are excited, but also cautious. A 2017 ecological review described the African spurred tortoise as a species with great ecosystem engineering potential, while IUCN reports have shown high survival rates for some reintroduced groups in Senegal, according to the IDR. Can you. Becky says, were they given little pouches of seeds? Can you imagine, like, a tortoise with a belt and a hat just walking along the desert planting seeds, just plodding along? That'd be pretty funny. Despite the encouraging results, experts stress that this is neither a magic bullet nor a universal solution. Rainfall, grazing pressure, and ongoing land management still matter. The same tortoises that help damage land is also endangered, with habitat loss, climate stress, hunting, and the pet trade driving declines across its range. So, you can it really is awesome though to get this tortoise involved to serve as an ecosystem engineer and help to allow seedlings to get into the dirt. So, to 500 of these tortoises that just started doing what they do best, moving earth and allowing patches of green to form in areas that have never seen it. Cheers. All right, that is going to get us out of flora and fauna. We are going to move on to category 4, the wholesome notes. And we've got 2 wholesome notes to end the night on. This first one is all the heckin' good boys and girls. I will copy and paste this into the chat if you want to check this out. What's up, Elmira? Land lobster. This 277 dog pool party just broke a Guinness World Record. Now, all the pools are being donated to shelters. Producer Donna said you could give all the tortoises a solar-powered backpack that releases seeds on a timer. That would be sweet. This was published, so this article was published on May 15th of 2026 by Cameron Baker to goodgoodgood.co. The weekend prior to May 15th had 277 dogs make history. On May 9th, Chewy invited 277 dogs to take a dip, all in the hopes of setting a new Guinness World Record, the largest dog pool party. They were successful, and hounds had a blast in a handful of pop-up pools at a Chewy Bark Park in Coral Gables, Florida. The event was designed to be a safe, joyful summer kickoff and do a little good in the process. In addition to cooling off in some dog-friendly pools, the event included summer games, prizes, photo ops, treat tastings, and even a claw machine filled with summer dog toys. Chewy Summer Social brought pets and pet parents together to celebrate the joy of summer with pets through an experience rooted in safety, connection, and care. Lisa Marie Curdy, head of brand activations at Chewy, told Good Good Good. Helping pets stay safe and cool during the summer is a real part of life with pets, especially in South Florida, and we loved creating a fun, meaningful way for dogs to beat the heat at Chewy Bark Park. The fun had a real purpose too. Miami-Dade Animal Services was on site with adoptable dogs. The Miami Fire Department provided dog CPR training demos, and Chewy Vet Care offered information on pet health to keep pups safe and cool all summer long. Chewy is also donating pop-up pools and summer toys to shelters and rescues in Florida to help provide additional enrichment items for shelter dogs to stay active and engaged safely during the warmer months. What made the day even more special was being able to extend that care beyond the event itself, Curdy added. By donating toys and pools from the event to local shelters, we're helping more pets experience comfort, enrichment, and moments of joy while they wait for their forever homes. That's what Chewy is about, showing up for pets and pet parents through the everyday moments, big and small. Yes, there was a dog toy claw machine, Becca. Or Becky. Now, 10 pet parents who weren't at the event also have a chance to win a pool of their own, along with a summer prize pack of new toys from Chewy's partner, Frisco. Anyone interested in entering to win could do so via an Instagram post. We absolutely loved the Chewy pool party last weekend. They truly thought of everything. It felt like being at a luxury resort poolside cabana just for the pups. From the fresh towels and popsicles to the toys and treats, it surpassed anything I could have imagined, pet parent and event attendee Michelle Arian said. Dog people truly are the best people to spend a weekend with. Who else could break a Guinness World Record so superbly? That really is something else. To Chewy, hosting a massive event where they had 277 dogs present for a pool party and broke a Guinness World Record. Cheers to all the heckin' good boys and girls. There's the link in the article, Becky. You could check it out and see if it already passed. Considering that this article's from May, it might have, so. All right, last article of the night. We called this one Dial 911 for Refreshment. I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to check this out. Two brothers selling lemonade had the cops called on them. The first officer to respond invited the whole town to support them. This was published to goodgoodgood.co on June 11th of 2026 by Megan Cook. There's a reason we do a lot of news from goodgoodgood.co. They do a lot of really great work covering their articles, making sure that they're accurate, and it's good news. It's always good news from them. So this is a site we love to tout. Brothers Perez and Jackie Reese have made an annual tradition out of selling lemonade in their neighborhood every summer. Their stand on 33rd and Webster, which sells lemonade, Kool-Aid, and snacks, has always been a hit in their Kansas City neighborhood. But in early June, one neighbor took umbrage with the kids' lemonade stand and called 911 to report the two brothers for selling products without a permit. Local police officer Morgan Reed was one of the first officers to stop by their stand during an afternoon shift, not to issue them a warning, but to encourage them to keep going. I was calling everybody. Yeah, I was just calling everybody. Hey, make sure you guys stop by the lemonade stand, Reed told local news outlet KCTV. And then, just whenever they were busy, a couple people were able to swing by. A couple people soon turned into a community-wide swell of support from police officers and firefighters across town. As first responders arrived in droves to drink lemonade and Kool-Aid, the money jar grew. Within 30 minutes of Reed's call to the community, Jackie and Perez made $280. Visiting officers gave the two boys stickers to put on their shirts, making them official police officers for the day. They were also invited to attend a free boys and girls football camp held by Kansas City Police Department on June 6th. It means a lot, the brothers said. The story soon went viral online, with people from across the country weighing in. I'll bet the person who made the original 911 call was watching all this and seething, one Facebook user wrote. It's ridiculous to try and discourage young people who are just trying to improve themselves in their community. I hope they get a lot more customers and have a great summer, another wrote. One Facebook user pointed out that the lemonade stand was, in fact, legal. Due to the recent Kansas lemonade stand law, House Bill 2599, minor-owned intermittent businesses do not require government permits or business licenses, they explained. The law was explicitly created to allow children to operate small businesses like lemonade stands, lawn mowing, or craft tables without having to navigate complicated commercial red tape. The day after the 911 call came in, Reed returned to spend another $40, telling KCTV that this is what community policing should look like. For Perez and Jackie, that singular day of community-wide support has been a weight off their shoulders. I just wanted to help the homeless and buy myself a new e-bike because that has been my dream since I was little, Perez said, as Jackie added that the money would also go to diapers for their nephew and niece. The brothers said they will continue running the stand throughout the summer, and Reed said she'd love to come back again and support them. I think for a lot of us, we're kids growing up in this city, she said. And this was the thing that we always looked forward to as kids, these friendly police interactions. That is really something. To Perez and Jackie Reese, and to everybody involved, the entire community of Kansas City, firefighters and first responders and police that showed up to support these two and their business endeavor, which, if you heard what they were raising this money for, the homeless to buy an e-bike and diapers for nephews and nieces. Cheers, guys. Well, that's going to do it for us tonight. Thank you all again for tuning in or catching the replay on the Nix News YouTube channel. We're live every Sunday, and our next episode is going to be on June. Why did I say June 12th? Jeez, I hope I didn't have that in the. Nope, I had July 12th on the main one. Of course. Yeah, we're gonna have our next episode on July 12th of 2026. We encourage participation, so if you feel inclined, you can message us with news brews, shoutouts, news quotes, and especially good news articles that we can present on future episodes of our show. If you send a bunch in, please spread them out across our 4 major categories, which again were science and technology, health and medicine, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals, and wholesome notes, the really nice ones we like to end on, like 277 dogs breaking a world record for a pool party, or an amazing lemonade stand that went absolutely viral and had the support of an entire community. Feel free to like, subscribe. Okay, you can message us on Facebook or Instagram, or email us at somebudgetstudios@gmail.com. Links are in the description of the video. Feel free to like, subscribe, or comment on our content across all our major platforms: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. We actually have TikToks. We do the news nibbles on TikTok, and they're going really well. It's been pretty crazy. The more that we interact, the more we can spread joy and good news into the algorithms on all of these platforms. Please no SEO improvement advertisements. We're not interested. Y'all continue to grow Nix News, which is absolutely amazing. We do minimal advertising. It's all because of you guys that we continue to grow, and I can't thank you all enough for that. It really is amazing to see this program continue to spread good news and joy. So that's about it. As always, thank you again. I love you all. Have a great night, and I will play us out.